Royals, what's going on? It's your girl QdaQueen here, back with another video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're liking the content, don't forget, hit that like button. And if you have any thoughts, comments, concerns, any feedback, hit that comment section, because me and my Royals, we talks about it. The smoke has cleared. The last dance is over. We've even had Game 6, the movie. All of that has gone past. It's now in the past. We've let it marinate, right? And now we can give some genuine thoughts, right? I thought I would come in, as opposed to doing like a live video or whatever. I would, just come in and tell you guys some of my thoughts on the overall project and some of the things that I've derived out of it. I don't know if you guys watched Game 6, the movie, but it was actually pretty cool how they were able to kind of convert that old game footage into what would be more like a cinematic video. To me, honestly though, it was like watching a game in this era. That's basically what Game 6 the movie was. So if it was anything different from your perspective, let me know. But that's basically what it felt like. It felt like I was watching Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Rodman, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Jeff Hornacek, all of those guys play in 2020. So that was a treat in that regard. So either way, even if it was like the old game footage, I would have enjoyed it either way. It was a good follow-up to the documentary, which, man, we gotta give props where props are due. I forgot the director's name of this documentary, but that team did a fantastic job putting that together. The way that they, time skipped across from 98 all the way back to 84, before then with Michael Jordan's college years, all of those good periods of time to kind of zigzag and just bring it full circle. It was a treat. Now, we've seen multiple stories, of Michael Jordan, different documentary based videos, movies, etc. So there were a lot of things that weren't really a surprise to most of us. I think one of the main things we learned is just that, he chose pretty much, not chose, but he made sure he was inspired or motivated by something all the time. He always found a spark from something. If you drop a fry on his lap by mistake or something, he would find a way to be a dog on the court based off of how he felt about you dropping that fry on his lap. You know what I'm saying? That ain't really happen. I'm just saying, that's just how random certain things he chose to be motivated by appeared to be in the movie or in the documentary or whatever. So it's I think that's cool. Whatever it takes for a person to be completely driven. For some people that would be growing up in poverty. Sometimes that's enough motivation for people, and then other people just need you to call them out their name or something and get them triggered, bring that dog up out of them. So MJ was an absolute monster. I don't think any of us were confused about that. The man was definitely one of a kind in his ability to just just be dark 030 out there. He didn't have any friends on the court. Didn't seem like he had any friends off the court either, but that's neither here nor there. Some of the things that really caught my attention were obviously, well, you know what, I'm not so concerned with how he talked to his teammates, because if you from the kind of place like where I'm from, or have actually played sports, I mean, that kind of talking ain't really foreign, so the things he was saying to his teammates, you typically would hear on the blacktop or in street ball or whatever. So it was kind of interesting to hear a professional basketball player talking like that. So, and especially somebody of Michael Jordan's stature, who made sure in the public eye he was that perfect dude, but when he had practice, shoot that ball, ho, shoot that hoe. I wasn't expecting it, but I was here for it. Okay, I joke with some of my IG and YouTube friends all the time, man. Listen, I'm only here to hear the cussing. I'm just here for the cussing, okay? So outside of that, you know, he was definitely very open about telling other folks dirty laundry a little bit. You know, I found at least 3 weekends in a row where he was kind of snitching a little bit, you know, about the cocaine circus, Scott Burrell, and his being a ladies' man and all that. And then what was the other thing about coaches and players smoking cigarettes and drinking beer during the games and all of that, you know. Yeah, maybe a lot of folks ain't want the public to know their business like that, you know. And even if it was the norm in those particular stages of I guess the game, so to speak, where a player would smoke and drink, or where players would be, you know, listen, that era, there's a lot of drugs floating around, okay? This was the 80s, so it's no mistake that, listen, we would be ignorant to say, oh, there's no way those guys were doing that. We know they were doing that, but that wasn't for him to say that. It wasn't for him to make it seem like he was some angel. Oh, you walk into the hotel room, all your teammates is doing that, and then you walk out. But that's y'all go. Listen, all respect to this man. Definitely one of the greatest basketball players we will ever see. Some of these guys today, that from an athletic standpoint, some of the guys today definitely are on the level that Michael Jordan was on back then. You didn't really see guys on his level of athleticism as much back then. High flying, finesse, all that stuff. But I feel like today we see that a whole lot more. So, you know, it becomes a little less. It's a little less of a phenomenon, and I think that's where Michael Jordan got his advantage, because we hadn't seen somebody with his package. We hadn't seen anybody with the different elements of how he's packaged as a player in that particular era, right? So it's a little less for somebody like me, who I consider myself a fairly strong basketball fan. For somebody like me to go back and watch it, I'm like, well, yeah, I get it. No wonder people glorify him, because we didn't see a whole lot of that style of play on that level, to that extreme, jumping that high, flying around, like being the guy that wants his teammates to do this when he's doing this at the same time. Like he exemplifies everything he wants to be, which is a winner, right? Plus, he looks damn good doing it, and he got a bomb sneaker to run around in, right? So that's a dime a dozen now. I could see how exciting that would be for somebody, you know, that was an adult in those days. I wasn't an adult during Michael Jordan's playing years, so I will, you know, in some cases digress from that standpoint. I did witness some of his games. I didn't grow up in a sports family, so anytime I watched it, it would be like the playoffs, or if my friends' parents were watching it. So I think a part of my fandom has come from watching it with my friends' parents, because my family was not sports fans. So I don't even know how I become I don't even know why I like sport. Why do I? Okay, this ain't got nothing to do with The Last Dance. All right, so let's talk about the teammate situation. Somebody like Dennis Rodman definitely needed a guy like Michael Jordan in his corner to just stay on him. Mike was a stay on him type of dude, and that's perfectly fine. I think that's one of his better qualities that I particularly admired, that I was reminded of when watching the documentary. So that was dope. And Dennis Rodman was great. He was crazy. He was just as crazy as we thought he would. And I don't mean crazy like psycho and loco, but like, we saw those moments when he married himself and he was with Carmen Electra, but when you get a little bit more of the inside scoop, you know, how this man went to go wrestle in the WWF during the damn finals. Like, yeah, that's amazing. That's crazy. We never knew that. Like, we witnessed Dennis Rodman in those moments, but we never knew like the underworkings around it. And so it was cool to kind of see everything, like him flying out to Vegas with Phil Jackson allowing him like a break or whatever. So he went out and just let off some steam, and you know, Michael Jordan and a couple of other guys went to go find him and pulled him by the nose ring, like, and Carmen Electra like hiding behind the couch so they don't see you. And you in the bed with somebody else, and who knows what kind of, you know, substances were in there. Yeah, you just never know. But the man, listen, that man lived his life. He might not have much money today, but he got stories. He got stories. And really, when it's all said and done, you can have all the money in the world or lack thereof, but if you that old person, it's not saying he old, but I'm just saying, like, generally speaking, if you live long enough to become like an older person in the world, like a senior citizen, a golden age person, and you got just stories from all the memories that you created, like, that's better than money. That's better than money. I feel like Dennis Rodman is one of those old folks that would be like just full of stories and have no regrets, you know. And then the Scottie Pippen situation, like, I don't even know where to start with that. Like, I could understand why Scottie Pippen is upset about how they painted him in the documentary or whatever. Him, you know, wanting to sit out because of needing to get surgery and want to make sure that in the off season he's prepared to get paid in the off season by another team, understanding that the Bulls were considering trading him anyway. And that whole situation I fully understand. I feel like it was unfair for Jordan to call him selfish because he was looking out for himself essentially, but Jordan called him selfish because Jordan wanted to win, which was selfish too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you getting paid $33 million a year, so of course you're gonna think he's selfish. You getting everything that you need. You good. You know? You just want to win. This man over here eating top ramen with injured limbs, trying to figure out where his next contract is coming from, and if he's gonna get paid as much money as he possibly can. I don't see how that's selfish, you know. And then another thing, how are you his mentor? There were specific words used when Scottie Pippen joined that team in that documentary. The specific words were geared around him being Scottie Pippen's mentor. Now, I get it. Scottie Pippen may have been really, he may have jumped quick on that long-term deal. Scottie Pippen basically only made like $2.5 million in 7 years per year for 7 years. That's crazy when you think about it. Like, Tony Kukoc was making more than Scottie Pippen. Now, here's the thing. I get it. Maybe his agent came to him and said, you know, this is what it is. I don't advise you to sign it. Then Scottie's thinking, well, I got to take care of the family. I get it. I get that whole component. But it's like, as an agent, first off, when I spoke to friends about this already, as an agent, it's your job to make sure he getting as much money as possible. The more money he make, the more money you make. So his agent was trash. Secondly, going back to the mentor part, how did Michael Jordan let this man sign a trash deal like that? But you're his mentor. This is the kid that you're trying to continue to win with. He signed his contract in '91. My understanding is that they had won by that year, right? If he signed that contract in '91, they won the first championship by then. So he was worth his weight in gold if somebody had, you know, gave him the tools to know, okay, you can do a little bit better than this, little man. Because let's say, even if, and what I'm understanding is Michael Jordan was making, what, $4 million at the time, before getting his more accelerated contract. But he was also getting, you know, Nike money as well. So there's so many elements to it. But I just feel like he exemplified a selfish person, like just super selfish. No matter how great he was on the court, no matter how spectacular, no matter how entertaining he was for the common fan, when it came down to the well-being of the people around him, particularly as it pertained to the other people that were winning alongside him and had a huge hand in helping him win, I don't feel like he gave as much effort toward them and their well-being as what a leader would do. You know, literally it was all about winning for him. Apparently whatever they had going on in their lives mattered not. Because I don't understand how you're somebody's mentor, but you don't even have any sort of insight or know about what Scottie Pippen was making or not making. So your relationship was literally just a basketball relationship. If for as long as you guys played, there was no more intimate relationship between the two of you. I don't understand. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, it was good to, but listen, it was good to see my Pistons. Now, I love that one because that part of the documentary, because it you know, it helped me kind of remind folks of who MJ had to go through before getting his first ring. Okay, my bad boys, huh? So the next time I talk about that, y'all know what I'm talking about, because some people act like they forgot. Some people act like they forgot. Now, Michael Jordan didn't come into the league a winner. Alright, I just want to keep it and make it plain. He didn't come into the league a winner. He had to fight my Pistons. That was his road to being a champion, man. What's another thing? Oh, and then one thing I didn't know about though, outside the Scottie Pippen thing. The Scottie Pippen thing I had no clue, and then Michael Jordan actually explaining that he would have wanted to go back and try to win a 7th ring. That was news to me. I think that was kind of a mystery to everybody. That was news to me that he actually would have been open to playing for a 7th ring. But then that raises the next question. Okay, I get, psychologically speaking, maybe he needed to walk away that first time he retired for, you know, his dad died, all of that stuff that came with that. He wanted to transition to baseball, which is a whole other, segment within itself. He wanted to try for a 7th ring. Okay, so that's another selfish side of him, right? So let's say if Scottie Pippen had retired to go play baseball. Imagine Jordan sitting in that chair in that documentary, what he would have said about Scottie Pippen. He would have said, we had just come off of a 3-peat. Why would you leave while the iron is hot? We got to strike it now. We got to keep going. We could have easily won 8 rings. That's what Michael Jordan would have said. But instead he retired, came back like nothing ever happened, right? Came back like nothing ever happened. They won 3 more. And then that last year with him, not necessarily being completely clear on whether he was retiring or not, he comes to that conclusion. Obviously Phil Jackson is for sure out the door. He decides he's not going to play if Phil Jackson's not going to be there. But then we come to find out now that he would have wanted to play for a 7th ring. So, I mean, you retired for a year and a half, bruh. You could have definitely won 8 rings. You could have won 8 rings. Like, there's no way to know for sure they would have won those rings. But I mean, listen, the NBA was tough back then. If they had won 8 in a row, they definitely would have went down as like the best team ever, honestly. But I think that was a selfish component. Again, if he needed to take that time, to do what he needed to do, cool. But it's funny that nobody, and this is why we need a Scottie Pippen documentary, because it's interesting that Michael Jordan can quickly call everybody out, call this, that, and the third selfish, but nobody came out and said how they really felt about him retiring after that 3rd ring. How did Phil Jackson really feel? You know what I'm saying? How did Scottie Pippen really feel? You know what I mean? Like, of course they wanted him there, but like, how did they really feel? Did they feel like he abandoned them? Like, oh, you're just gonna leave this good thing and go play some baseball? Like, what are the true thoughts of these people about his retirement? Do they agree that this man is just as selfish as what he tried to call other people when they didn't want to do what he wanted? I digress on that. Oh, and then, okay, so flu games is now food poisoning. Okay, it was always suspected that MJ was possibly hungover, and the pizza was to kind of subside that situation, and then he in turn got food poisoning. But then when we hear the story on the documentary about the 5 dudes delivering it, you know. And then multiple. What's interesting though is they had multiple people tell the same story, and they all mentioned that it was multiple guys delivering that one pizza. So that was weird. Now, unless all of them dudes rehearsed the story, we gonna go with the food poisoning. Okay, we just gonna go with food poisoning. They don't want to tarnish MJ. There's no way MJ could have been hungover. No way. No way anybody would admit to MJ being hungover because he's so perfect. He's so perfect. There's no way. So we're going to roll with food poisoning. It was not the flu. But my whole thing is this. If you have food poisoning, bruh, you will not be playing no basketball. And then not only that, food poisoning. Anybody have food poisoning? Because I have. And boy, let me tell you. The only thing you run into is the toilet. I'm just saying, you ain't running up and down no court. Nah, I'm just putting that out there. Jeez, touch. But yeah, man, all in all, I don't want this to be too long, but all in all, the documentary was dope. I loved it. It's definitely something I would consider watching again. We need a Scottie Pippen story of some form ASAP. Scottie Pippen is pissed. I'm hearing Scottie Pippen is not happy. He is all the way upset, and he deserves to tell us, you know, how he feels about all of this. Cause you know they did paint him a little funny. They painted him to be a little on the weak side. They tried to make Scottie Pippen seem like he was a little weak. You know. And he had every right. Well, he had a full hand in all of those championships. So I'm ready for a Scottie Pippen story. Me myself. What y'all think? What y'all think, man? Like I said, didn't want this to be too long. It kind of is, but if y'all feeling me on these subject matters, y'all understand where I'm coming from. Anyway, make sure y'all go ahead and hit the comment section. Let me know a little bit about you guys' thoughts on the matter. Like I said, I didn't want to go ahead and do a live because I didn't want it to be like a full rant or whatever going back and forth about it, because then it's just only gonna end up being about Michael Jordan versus LeBron, and that ain't even the direction I was trying to go in. But people would just be trying to get me triggered, huh? Man, make sure y'all hit that like button and quit playing. All right, until next time. Royalty.
The queen is hyped up. The queen is hyped up.